What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, and I'm back at y'all with another one. So, former unified three-belt WBA, WBC, IBF, welterweight world champion, superstar boxer, who now is a junior middleweight, making his comeback, title contender, Errol "The Truth" Spence Jr., 28 wins, 1 loss, no draw, 22 wins by way of knockout. He did a historic boxing interview that's going to go down in history yesterday. He didn't do it yesterday, but it was released yesterday. Errol Spence has not fought in 3 years. He'll be making his ring return July 26th in Australia against Tim Tszyu, former WBO junior middleweight world champion, Australian superstar boxer. Errol Spence is coming off the first loss of his career to now retired pound for pound king, the best fighter of his era and his generation, 5-division champion, 3-division undisputed champion, superstar boxer, Terence Crawford, who is now retired, 42 wins, no losses, no draws, 31 big wins by way of knockout. With that said, they fought July of 2023, and that's when Errol Spence took the first loss of his career, a lot of firsts. So he did this interview with Andre S.O.G. Ward, another retired Hall of Famer, 2-division champion, Olympic gold medalist, undefeated, 32 wins, no loss, no draw, 16 wins by way of knockout. And they did a historic, great interview, sat down. It was released yesterday, but they did a great interview. And it's going to go down in history. Right now, it's at like 9 hours, and it's at like 200,000 views. Great interview. Now, yesterday, I did a video about a portion of the interview that was sent to me where Errol Spence told his truth about the Terence Crawford fight. But in telling his truth, it discredited Terence Crawford, right? Was he intentionally trying to discredit Terence Crawford? No, he was just telling his truth. Did I like it, as I said yesterday? No, I didn't agree with it because Errol Spence is extremely smart. He understands that that's going to discredit Terence Crawford's performance. He dropped Errol Spence 3 times. He dominated the fight. He won every round, and he stopped Errol Spence. And again, Errol Spence explaining the lead up to that fight when asked, obviously the world wanted to know about so many things within Errol Spence's career. Errol Spence's life and career is a movie. It is a Rocky, Creed, real life movie. Those are fictional. Well, the Rocky movie is not fictional because that's based off a real character, but he didn't reach the heights that Rocky actually met. But the Creed movie, Errol Spence's life, suffering that horrific car accident, coming back just a year later, no broken bones. As he said in this, he tweeted out, "I'm a savage, no broken bones." Watching his car flip down the street, being documented, right? Not living a fighter's lifestyle, right? The Terence Crawford fight, all of these things it's a real life movie, right? With that said, Errol Spence is extremely intelligent. He's extremely smart. And so Errol Spence explaining the absolute details of his training camp leading to the Terence Crawford fight, it discredits Terence Crawford. He knew it was going to discredit Terence Crawford. And so this portion of it, many people sent it to me and they asked me my opinion. I gave you my opinion, my thoughts. I didn't like it. I understand it, as I stated. I understand it because Errol Spence is a truthful person. I understand that, right? I get he's just telling his truth. Is Errol Spence lying? No, he's telling his truth, right? I knew this. People told me that Errol Spence had broken ribs. He couldn't spar. He didn't have this. He didn't have that. I knew all of this, right? People was telling me. Well, at least people was telling me these things, right? And so I was aware of it. Let me say that. I didn't witness it, but I was aware of it. And so I didn't want it to be as an excuse, because then you shouldn't have took the fight. You took the fight. You knew you had these things going on. Don't tell nobody. That's how I feel, right? Don't tell anybody. Just go with the flow. So then he stated that he had to take the fight. He felt like internally he had to take the fight because it was generational, life-changing money for his family and for himself. So he took it. So essentially he's telling you he did it for the money. I don't like that. And then saying essentially you knew you wasn't going to be successful. That's discrediting Terence Crawford's hard work and what Terence Crawford has achieved. Because now you're saying you knew the training camp was trash. You didn't spar 6 weeks, 7 weeks going into the fight. You had broken ribs, right? All of these details unnecessarily revealed. And I see people in my comments saying, how you going to tell a man how to tell? Because being a man is taking accountability. And taking accountability means you make no excuses. And making no excuses equals not telling unnecessary details, because you know it's going to generate excuses. So you just live with the results. As he said, I just got to live with the results. Right. Now, again, he's an honest person, right? He's an earnest person. So he's going to tell his truth. The details didn't need to be told. I think that he could have just said, listen, I accepted the fight. I didn't properly prepare as I should have. And Terence Crawford won. Now, off camera, if he wanted to explain to Andre Ward, now it makes the story juicy, of course. It puts fat on the bone, right? But off camera, he could have said, Andre, hey, this happened, that happened, but I ain't want to say that on air because, that's going to make Terence Crawford, it's going to discredit Terence Crawford, and it's going to make it look like I'm making excuses. So this is X, Y, and Z, right? But leading up into that fight, I wasn't myself. Terence Crawford is a great fighter. I was underprepared. I underestimated him. And this is what happened. So Errol Spence responds now today. And he puts out a tweet and he says, regardless of what took place on my end, Terence Crawford was disciplined. He was prepared. And he deserved the win. He was the better fighter. He deserved the win. And that's all great and dandy, but now people can't unsee what they saw. I always tell my wife and my kids, you can't unsee the truth. Once you see the truth, you can't unsee the truth, right? And what I mean by that is when details and things are revealed, you can't unsee it. There's no going back, right? And so now that you put this out there, there is no going back. Now everybody's making videos. See, we knew Terence Crawford wasn't that good, and we knew, right? It is now Terence Crawford is going to be asked this now. Whenever a microphone is put in his face by any boxing mind and any boxing event, he's going to be asked about these details. And what it does also to the people, not so smart people in my chat and people, it drives a wedge between two guys unnecessarily when we can have unity. Because eventually Terence Crawford is going to feel resentment. He going to feel like, hey, bro, you discrediting me, bro. You understand? He going to feel resentment. Now, he going to be cordial, but it's going to be resentment with two great people, black athletes, that we can have unity. Period. It's not Terence. And people keep saying, well, why EJ can't tell? Well, you can't tell a man. No, it's about respect. That's what it's about. Because it's not Terence Crawford's fault that you wasn't properly prepared. So it's not necessary to put that out in the world. Because that's on you. That's on you. You know how many fighters take fights for the finances? For the financial gain? and not to be in the fight. This gives ammunition to every fighter to say the same thing. Well, I have, for him to say he didn't have sparring, he didn't have southpaws, he didn't have this, he didn't have, that's on you. Is it your reality? Very possible. I wasn't there. But again, that's on you. That's not Terence Crawford's fault. That's not the boxing world fault. So it's not necessary to put that out in the world. Because once it's out there, it's out there. You understand? So, again, like I said, now he's saying, like he said, Terence Crawford is great. He deserved X, Y, and Z, so on and so forth. He says, regardless, Bud was disciplined and he deserved and earned his dub. It's like backhand, bro. You know what I'm saying? But I get it. Like I said, I understand Errol Spence is telling his truth, and you get moronic people. You can't tell them, man. Bro, y'all not men. That's why. Y'all don't have morals. Y'all don't have understanding. Y'all not men. That's why you say that. And that's all I got for y'all, man. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. I'm gone. Peace.